When presenting your case or commenting, please be sure to come up to the microphone and you state your name and your address, and please confirm that you've been sworn in, okay? Heather, were the legal notices published in a timely manner?
Yes, they were.
All right, tonight we have two variances that are old business, and we have 5 new appeals that are as well. A 3-vote majority is required to either approve or deny your appeal. If your request is denied, you can follow up with Heather and she can tell you the next steps. So, first on the agenda will be our old business, which is Variance Application 2022-103. Robert C. Spinola is requesting a variance to allow for the construction of a 6-foot high fence in the front yard in lieu of the maximum 4-foot high permitted in section 34.04A1 for the property located at 10351 Hoos Road, known as current parcel number 08-A-03-0-0-00-00-001-0. Mr. Spinola, if you come up.
My name is Robert Spinella. I reside at 10351 Hoos Road in Concord, and I've been sworn in.
Okay.
I first had a variance request last meeting, and we moved to return to review it again this meeting. So I can give a summary of the original variance request.
Yeah.
I requested a 6-foot tall fence in front of the property line, the house line, in lieu of a 4-foot maximum limit. It's a pasture fence. It would be it wouldn't be a privacy fence. It would be see-through, very non-visible, and it's because we have chicken coops, which we have permits for, and this would be to keep the chickens on the property and also predators out. The original request was for a 6-foot fence, an interior fence, and then also along the property line. Since then, we have revised the variance request to just the interior fence around the chicken coops would remain 6 foot, and then the fence around the property lines we're requesting now just 4 foot, based on concerns raised during the last meeting.
So, if you'd be okay, I just want to make sure it's clear. So this section here,
Right, that would be the 6 foot.
that would only, and that's what you're
Right.
requesting, is 6 foot for
Right,
that area
yes.
only. So do you know how, and you want, again, you still want 6 feet in your front yard. Do you know what that length is? It's a little hard to see how long of a section you would need in that front yard.
It's
Just 74.
Yeah, it's about 78 by, I think it's 109 by 137
7.
by 78.
Okay.
And that is surrounded by greenery, trees, and shrubs, so it's very well hidden.
So you previously requested that the entire front.
That's correct. A 4-foot fence, I believe, would be sufficient for the rest. It's just to protect, I guess, on the neighbor side, we have a neighbor, and then the road side, and then the Concord Hills Parks on the other side. So
Okay.
I believe a 4-foot fence would be sufficient.
So I want to check my understanding, because my recollection from last meeting was that the chickens were getting out and over to the neighbors, because the fence along y'all's property line was to be 6 feet, and the chickens can get over the 4 foot pretty easy.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Weren't we going to do 6 feet all the way around the property?
Yeah, we discussed that. I think my neighbor had a concern with the 6-foot fence, which I understand. Our solution would be, I guess we could clip the wings of the chickens so they can't fly over the fence. So that, I believe, would
Is this
prevent
something
them.
you agreed with him?
No.
The wing clipping?
No, that is the first time I brought it up.
So are you going to do that?
Yes.
But he still needs a 6-foot fence, just not as much of it.
So when you drive by his house on Hoos, there's some pine trees up front. You got to strain to see the chicken coops back there. So the 4 and 6 on a welded wire fence is going to be virtually invisible. at least from the street, just in my opinion. But the thing was with the complaint with the last time was that when the chickens, they come out of the little house part, right? And they roam around and eat bugs and stuff, and the rest of so the concern was that they can hop up and they wander through the woods and ire the neighbor up a little bit. And we were trying to keep them in there, so if the wing clipping is all he needs, then the 6 foot on the front would keep the chickens. Go ahead, David.
Well, I was going to say, so originally it was going to be along the front property
The
line.
whole thing was supposed to be
Right.
6.
Now it's back, it looks like, which is, I think, 50
Yeah,
feet
50
back,
feet
which
from
is
the
what
road.
we had talked about.
Right.
It would be along the tree
But it's
line.
but you're saying 4 foot all the way around, 6 foot on the interior.
That's
Right.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're on the same page with what that is.
So
Yeah.
the variance then is for the 4 foot in the front and the 6 foot coop?
No, I don't think there's a variant. I think 4 foot is allowed, correct?
It is.
Yeah, 4
In
foot
the
is
front.
allowed.
Oh,
You
4
can't
foot
do
in the
4
front
foot.
is
Variance
allowed,
is
okay.
for that, just
It's-
6 foot section.
Just
It's a
a
6
6 foot
foot on
section.
the interior chicken house fence. Sorry, chicken coop fence, where he's got 6 feet on the 3 sides and then 4 foot on the front because it faces the front. But he wants to have it 6 feet all the way around
Gotcha.
to keep the chickens in the house and the foxes out of the chicken house.
And the deer also, that they can jump over a 4 foot fence very easy. So-
deer eat chickens?
No, but they eat the feed.
Oh, okay. that would be something.
Yep.
I thought, I mean, I don't have any idea what chicken behaviors is, but I thought chickens stayed really close.
They really tend to.
And like, don't,
There were
stray.
a few. There were a few that strayed, and it presented a problem. So this is
Oh.
our
So-
attempt to contain them.
So Skip, we had the neighbor last one, and he's already testified. I don't think he has to come and testify again, but so that it issued that chickens would wander through the stream over to his house, and they're not welcome there. But since then, he has acquired property in Ashtabula and has closed on it.
Today,
Today, he closed on that property to move the majority of chickens and other livestock he has there out to that property. So that would alleviate a lot of the, I mean, his complaints were issues with farm noise, I guess, for lack of a better term. But the majority of that's going to be going away, save for the egg-laying chickens that he's keeping in his house, that he'll clip the wings so they don't go to the neighbor and make the neighbor mad. Ergo, 4 foot fence around, 6 foot fence around the chicken house enclosure.
doesn't the rooster make a lot of noise in the morning?
we don't have any right now.
Oh, okay.
The
Yep.
root
Yep.
is the root. Yeah, that was a big thing. with
Right,
the
yeah,
rooster,
we don't have any roosters.
What are you gonna do over the stream? How are you gonna handle that?
I believe it's a good question because we can't go through the stream, but I don't believe that they'll cross the stream.
Didn't
Can chickens swim?
we say that that's how they got there?
I think they went through the woods before that.
Yeah, so I was kind of wondering because there is no fence there now, right?
No,
So the chickens would just kind of hop over and wander through to the neighbor's house.
Did the neighbor have any problem with the 6 foot revision? With this new presentation?
he
On the front?
on on his side, I believe he did not like that it was close to his property. Because
Even
he-
the 4 foot?
Well, I think he said a 6 foot would be. I don't want to paraphrase. I'm just recollecting.
Is he
from what I
okay
remember.
with how you revised it?
I don't know that.
Does he know about it?
I don't believe so.
What did he say last time?
I'm just trying to recall. I don't know for 100% sure. I can't remember, but he was his main complaint was not necessarily fence, but was the chickens. Didn't want the chickens coming into the yard. So he seemed to be okay with the 6 foot fence, but as long as chickens stay in the yard, I don't think he cares. So clipping the wings, whatever that entails, might be the solution. And is getting rid of the majority out to Ashtabula was the other part of the solution. So I think we might have a happy neighbor, LCP here.
Okay.
I haven't communicated any of this to him.
Okay. Skip, if you're familiar with this area, Hoos Road, right by
Yeah.
Morley, it's where Kitty City was across the street. So you've already got a bunch of ducks that would fly over to that
Oh,
little
those
pond.
ducks.
I hit
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
They've been there for years.
Yeah. Well, are they yours?
No, they used to feed them, I believe. Once they moved out, there's been a lot less wildlife on their pond.
But you have ducks, though. or
We do
had.
have a few ducks, yes.
This, yeah. So did
And you
they
got
go
the
out
park. They got the park right
Right.
next to you.
Right.
Yeah.
there? And the goal is to keep the chickens out of the park. Right. Okay. I think I'm clear.
Okay.
But you don't know how you're gonna handle the stream?
I believe the inside enclosure will help, and then with having an extra layer, I mean, we can go in front of the stream if we have to.
I mean, you could, and I think the term is chicken wire, which is actually what it is, fencing, that you could probably put a little on the bottom side if it goes over the stream. So like if the stream going under, put a little chicken wire down there and keep them out.
All right, I believe going over the stream is not an issue, but going
Under.
into the stream,
Yeah.
you're not allowed to obstruct it. But we could set an extra barrier in that area.
So I guess I'm
But the
still-
6 foot is
yeah.
gonna really contain the chickens.
Yeah.
It's the main line of defense, yeah.
At night, but during the day, they're going to go out and wander around the yard
So the 4 foot though isn't part of this variance.
because he's allowed to have a
He's allowed to have a 4 foot. So
Right.
we're only talking about the 6
The 6 foot on the
which
front.
has nothing to do with the stream.
Right.
Because
I don't
it's
think-
not going, yeah, it's not going over.
Yeah, it's not going over. It's right on the edge of the stream. So that's where the stream ends right here, and that's the corner of the 6 foot chicken fence.
So the only, I guess the question I have for the board, should we limit the length of the 6 foot front yard fencing? Or just approve the variance as noted, as it's written? It just says we're allowing 6 foot fence in the front yard. Should we reference this plan that was submitted?
Well, the 6 foot fence was only for the 78 feet along the front, right?
Right.
Now it is.
Now, yeah.
Previously he was asking for all of it, so
Right.
I feel like maybe we want to limit it to 78 feet as shown in the
And that's what I
plan.
thought the approval was, that we were going to put 6 foot along the perimeter, or at least within the perimeter after the easement. So, but if that's not the case, then we're just concerned about the chicken coop enclosure thing.
So then would we just approve the
As-
approve the variance for
With
the
the stipulation.
78 foot by 109 foot by 74
Eight.
foot by 37 foot section?
Is it 78 or 74 up front?
I believe it's 78.
78.
Oh, I
or
guess I'm
78.
looking at it.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, according to the original plan, it was 74.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so-
I was looking at the top chart.
Yeah,
That's
it looks
okay,
like
yeah.
It might be easier
Could
to
be a
see on
4.
this one. That's the original.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah. Would that be okay with you if we have the stipulation for this variance approval that it meets the dimensions and the,
Yes. Yep. That's fine.
okay. Anything else from the board? Chris?
Nope.
Nope. Okay, thank you. You can be seated.
Okay. Thank you.
Is there anyone else here speaking for this appeal that'd like to come up? Is there anyone here that's speaking against this appeal? There's no further questions. Public hearing for appeal number 2022-103 is now closed to the public. Can I get a motion to approve variance 2022-103?
So moved.
Second?
All right, discussion? Anything else to add?
No, I think
No?
we just have to make that amendment.
Amendment, okay. So, there's nothing else then, the question is for the approval of variance number 2022-103 by Robert Spinola, who is requesting a variance to allow for a 6 foot high fence in the front yard in lieu of the maximum 4 foot high fence permitted in section 34.04A1 for the property located at 10351 Hoos Road with an additional condition by the board that the 6 foot high fence would meet the dimensions as shown on the exhibit submitted with the variance of 78 feet, 109 feet, 74, and 137 feet in length.
It's 37.
Oh, 37.
Or is it 137? You're correct.
Yeah, 137 feet in length.
The X was.
Can I please, Heather, can we please get a vote? Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. I got it. Okay. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Now, Heather, can we get a vote? It's been a while.
Yes.
Mr. Goling,
Yes.
Ms. Gerald,
Yes.
Mr. Rowan,
Yes.
and Mr. Valente.
Yes. Your variance has been approved. Thank you. Okay. Next is we have another item of old business. Variance application 2022-106. Mark Green of Marus Brothers Construction is requesting a variance on behalf of the property owner N9 Group LLC to allow for the construction of a parking area in the front yard on a corner lot, which is permitted in section 22.10H4 for the property located on Corral Road, known as current parcel number 08-A-020-0-00-048-0. Mr. Green, please come up.
Good evening. Mark Green from Marus Brothers Construction, representing I and 9. I have been sworn in.
Could you state your address for the record?
Sure. Address is 36933 Vine Street, Willoughby, Ohio 44094.
Thank you.
We are here for a variance for front yard parking on a corner lot at the intersection of Cryle and Old Cryle. I believe you all have plans or architectural site plans of that corner lot. Shows 2 buildings on it. We've been working really hard to get these 2 buildings, which have somewhat constrictive setbacks on that corner that are pushing the buildings in towards the center and all the circulation. So we're trying to preserve a lot of the center of that site for some future development plans that our client might have. And we also had concerns at the ice cream parlor here with pushing the building out towards the road, being this is kind of a meandering little curve here. We had some safety issues that we really felt comfortable pulling the building off the street a little bit and having a parking zone up front as a buffer. Because this is an ice cream place, there's a lot of kids, there's outdoor seating areas here, and main entrances that are on the Cryle side of the building. So we just felt that this was really the best spot to have our parking was on the front there. It's not a large lot, but we were just hoping to achieve a variance here to allow us to do that.
I'm struggling with the site plan a little bit, and so I'm not really seeing, I guess I'm struggling with why we have to put the parking there. You said it's a safety concern?
We thought it would be nice to have the building as far back as possible, vehicle traffic along Cryle, and have that parking area as a buffer in case anything skips the curb or the ditch. Instead of having the building right out there. I know there's a setback and all that stuff there, but further back we thought was better. We also wanted to preserve the integrity of some of the interior property in case there were some future development plans.
Did you review the Kappa Parkway Business District and why they kind of were pushing to have that building up front?
We've been working with Heather to there's a bunch of other issues that trying to get them in compliance with setbacks for the car wash down along Old Cryle, getting everything pulled back in the building, understanding what the zoning codes were in reference to there's some grandfathering on Old Cryle that creates some nuances there. So I think we've gotten to where we solved everything, but we were really myself, our clients, we all really like the idea of having that parking up front. We think it's a good idea for this specific site and this project. So that's why we're coming to you to see if we can get a variance.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't really care for the site plan very much, but we're not here to review the site plan.
Yeah.
That goes to zoning. It's just, where are we gonna allow parking on the front yard?
Well, that's my next question. There's 3 front yards. Which
Yeah.
one's the front yard? Is it facing the old Red Cross building? Is it facing Old Cryle and 44? Or is it facing Cryle?
I think it's anything that's facing a road.
So Cryle and Old Cryle.
So
It's a
2
weird
front
one.
yards.
Yeah.
I think that just the lot itself is extraordinary, to a
It's
certain
unique,
degree. So, I mean, it makes sense to me.
Well, are we in the discussion phase right now? Or?
Well, yeah, it's any questions we have from our, I don't know, do you guys have any other, questions, concerns? I think Chris's point's valid. I think that's the challenge, the bigger challenge. I don't think safety's really a challenge. I'm not really buying that, but I think the shape of the lot and trying to fit all that stuff on these 2 roads is more of a challenge than anything.
Just trying to understand how this is different than like Grist Mill or where Drug Mart is, because all that parking's in the front of the buildings.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
So-
as far as the safety goes, and this is just I was coming home from Drug Mart, going north on Cryle, and going past me at about Mach 7 was a beautiful Mustang GT.
How fast were you going, for the record?
Not Mach 7. But, and just for a second there, like, the guy's driving like a jerk. And I didn't think about kids, ice cream stores, and outdoor seating until I saw it on the paper. And then I'm thinking, well, the guy breaks traction, jumps the curb, and plows into an ice cream store with outdoor seating, which is, if we forced it to go right next to Cryle Road, then potentially I'd rather have it mow down a bunch of cars than mow down an outdoor seating. And I'm just being waxing prophetic here, but I just don't see, it's not a super huge issue. It's just it's an odd shaped lot with 2 front yards, I guess. And we just flipped it around. Did I think was it the other way first? Was it flipped over, or was it always like this?
It's always been like this. We've tweaked it a little bit here and there, but the arrangements are pretty much the
Got
same.
it.
So what was discussed last month? Is this from last?
No,
This
No,
was
they
tabled.
didn't have anything last month.
Okay.
Or not tabled, but carried over. We didn't postpone it.
no, this is new.
This wasn't, we didn't discuss this at all
That
last.
was requested to be tabled.
Right, we had already done the legal notices and sent out the notice,
Okay.
and then they requested to table, so we did
It
not
wasn't
ever
open
open the
There was no
hearing.
discussion.
Okay. Any other questions from the board?
Nope.
Okay, you be safe, Mark. Thank you. Is there anyone else here that's speaking for the appeal that'd like to come up? Is there anyone here speaking against that appeal that would like to come up? Okay, if there's no further questions, then the public hearing for variance number 2022-106 is now closed to the public. Can I get a motion to approve variance 2022-106?
So moved.
Second?
Thank you. Any discussion from the board?
I mean, I guess for me, it makes sense. I don't really, I mean, the alternative is like rearranging the whole site, rearranging the car wash. Yeah, I mean, to me, it doesn't detract from that stretch, that business district. So I'm for it.
It's good for Drug Mart.
Okay. Chris, you got anything to add?
No.
All right. Thanks, everyone. So the question is on the approval of appeal number 2022-1006. The yes vote is for the approval of variance. A vote no denies it. But before that, can I get a motion? Wait. No. Yeah. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second. Sorry.
Second.
All right. Now, Heather, please call the vote.
Okay, Mr. Goling,
Yes.
Ms. Carroll,
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney,
Yes.
Mr. Rowan,
Yes.
and Mr. Valente.
Yes. It is approved. Thank you. Okay, next is, we're getting into new business. We have variance application 2022-107. Robert A. Maraglio is requesting a variance to allow for the construction of accessory building with a 20-foot setback from Heritage Road right of way in lieu of the minimum 50 feet required as set forth in section 15.04A2E and table 15.04-1 for the property located at 7245 North Point Court, known as current parcel number 08-A-030-F-00-015-0. Yep, come on up, sir. Were you sworn in?
Yes, I was.
Okay. I don't remember seeing you back there.
My name is Robert Marango, 7245 North Point. I have been sworn in.
All right. Go ahead, present your case, sir.
Pretty much, we're just trying to put a small shed, a 10 by 10, 11 by 11. Me and Heather went through this. Because we're actually having a carpenter do it, the dimensions are a little bit different because of the way they cut wood. It's not a prefab small shed. It makes up a very small footprint. I've added pictures of what my neighbors would see from the back, the front, the sides. Nobody sees any of it. We have plenty of hedges, trees. It's just such a small footprint that we're trying to get the variance because it's not 50 feet from the road. I think it's approximately 20, 22 feet, and even that is close. Everything that me and Heather went through is at least a foot and a half variable. But it'll be on cement, no critters underneath, construction built, it won't be a prefab. It's gonna be exactly look just like my house, shingled, sided, well constructed. And even the photos show that from any which way in my backyard, my neighbors don't even see it now. And I've also added all 3 of my neighbors have signed an approval for this. So I talked to all of them. None of them have an issue with this at all. It's not going to be any taller than 8 feet. So we're not trying to build some monstrosity back there. It's not going to hold lawnmowers or anything. It's just a small shed. And we're just trying to have some structure back there to put. I have a little putt-putt course next to it. So we're going to put some golf clubs and things like that in there and a table. I think the only difference in what we've talked about is when I talked to, and this just came up the other day with my carpenter, that there might be a 1 foot overhang soffit. So if the building was 10 by 10, there'd actually be another foot in the front so that the rain doesn't actually hit and run into the building. It's the only difference in what we had applied for today. And I've given you every photo. I've tried to do whatever the best I could to show you. Even the hedges that I have a picture of Exhibit 7. Even those hedges are going to grow 8 to 9 feet tall from Hermitage. So no one will even see this. And that's the neighbor behind me and both neighbors to the side and right of me have saying acceptance to it.
No, I mean, you provided the pictures, you laid out everything pretty well. I don't have any other questions.
I have a question. So it looks like you said 20 feet from Hermitage.
Correct.
Why did you choose that location versus coming in further? Is there something that's preventing it from coming in? So you have the green,
Right.
that green square. And it looks like you're closer to the road side. If you were
Right.
to come back, what's preventing that? What's the decision there?
I have nothing but fruit trees all there.
Gotcha.
So I've got apricots, nectarines, plums, pears, figs.
Right.
So the other reason why I couldn't move it any forward, I couldn't put it to the left, because then my neighbor would definitely see it. It would be, I think, within 10 feet of his yard.
Right.
And if I put it to the right, my neighbor would really, really see it. Or if I put it to the right, my neighbor, both ways, if I put it each way and came within the variance, it would be in the middle of the trees and my neighbors would be like, it's right there. If this where I got it right now, it's so far set back, but unfortunately close to the road, that they won't see it at all.
This is another 2 front yards kind of situation, isn't it?
Skip, any questions? Nope. All right, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Please be seated. Is there anyone else speaking against this appeal or for this appeal that'd like to come up? There's There's no further questions. A public hearing for variance number 2022-107 is now closed to the public. Can I get a motion to approve variance 2022-107?
So moved.
Somebody want a second?
Second.
You figure that one out. All right, Skip seconded. All right. Any comments on the board?
I've driven by his house twice a week down there. I go down there quite a bit, and I always wondered who the guy was that has the putting green in the backyard.
Palm trees, yeah.
Palm trees. Now I know. But to that end, if he's not a guy that doesn't care about his backyard, if he holds true to making this fit in with the house and the design of the backyard, I don't think it's going to be an issue at all.
Yeah, I mean, seems like he's put in the effort and trying to do the right thing. Kind of a tough parcel.
Yes.
Okay. So the question is on approval of variance number 2022-107. A yes vote is for the approval of the variance and no vote denies it. Heather, please call the vote.
Mr. Rowan?
Yes.
Ms. Gerald?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes?
Mr. Goling?
Yes.
And Mr. Valente?
Yes. Your variance has been approved. Thank you.
Stop by as well.
I'm horrible. I swear a lot.
Next is variance application 2022-108. Dario Petkovic and Julie Marus are requesting a variance from section 15.03A6, table 15.03-1, allow for a second accessory building on a lot less than 2 acres in size in lieu of the maximum 1 permitted for lots less than 2 acres for the property located at 11466 Viceroy Street, known as current parcel number 08-A-012-J-00-067-0. Hello.
Hello, Julie Marus, representing myself and Dario Pekovic. Our address is 11466 Viceroy, and I have been sworn in. So basically what we're asking to do is we're putting in an in-ground pool in the backyard. We have an existing small shed back there to house tractors, snow blowers, things like that. With the new, we actually initially weren't thinking of a structure back there, but with the new quail development, and I do have support from Todd Victor, and I had like a personal conversation and things like that, because it does butt up to his new development back there, just to offer some shade to us and the kids, because it's full-blown, full-on sun back there now, just losing all the trees that we lost. And it's just a very simple, stylish 20 by 20 structure that we're putting back there. We just want to keep our existing storage shed along with it.
That must have been a shock when those trees came down, huh?
It was, and they're still down, yes. It's very sunny.
So it looks like the shed in the pool house would keep you under the maximum square footage of 1,024 square feet. But we only allow one structure. Did you look at maybe combining it into one structure?
We did, but that, in going back and forth with Heather, where we had the structure initially, I think we were within like 4 feet of where we needed to be. So we actually now had to, when they just excavated for the pool, they had to move it 4 feet closer to the house. Because we did try to add storage on the back of the new structure to, if we did have to get rid of the shed, but it just won't fit. With us not being, butting up too close to that property line there.
What about adding it to the side of the new structure and making it wider?
We would still be, because the pool goes this way, we'd be off.
As far as the side yard setbacks go?
Yes.
Can you show me? I just can't figure out where the existing shed is and where the pool shed's gonna go.
I
Can you show me
have
in
a
the-
picture on my phone if you want to see. If that helps or no?
Yeah, is it gonna
In
be
the
like
aerial,
behind here?
I don't think it's in the aerial. It'll be, yes. So that aerial was taken before we had to set the pool even 4 foot closer to our patio. So
Right.
we've had to readjust all the fencing plans and the pool itself, which is now excavated already to allow for the structure back there 4 foot closer. And the shed just sits, it would sit almost adjacent to the structure and have the pool equipment, you know, gated in kind of behind it on a pad.
So the pool house is gonna be back here
Correct.
towards the back property line, and then the current shed is somewhere over here?
Yes, on the grassy part.
How big is the current shed?
Current shed is, it's fairly small. It's like 10 by 10. It should be in one of the
Yes.
plans here. Yeah, you might not have the dimensions in there, but it's fairly small.
200.
It's not very big, that's why I was thinking, it seemed like it wouldn't take much to bump out one side of that building and
Right.
have it one nice building and get rid of one there for a little bit of storage if that's all you need.
I don't understand how it would infringe on any other setbacks if you did that.
We drew it one
Yeah, I
way.
think that's what I'm trying to understand too. Like how,
Initially,
yeah,
but-
if you were to attach that, you're actually moving it in
Little
from the
closer.
side.
So it wouldn't be on the neighbor setback to the south.
Yeah.
Do you understand what we're saying?
I do understand what you're saying. It's just, I think the architect drew it this way for a reason, and I'm
Because I think
trying to look back here to see if we have that, if I have that with me.
if you went bigger or if you attached it, we wouldn't need the variance if it was within
Right.
the guidelines.
Right.
And that, believe me, that's something we definitely discussed and talked about. But with the way that the pool is going, to do it that way, it wouldn't work. Because we have our tractor in there and snow blower and things like that, so we need like a way to drive those things into it.
Is this elevated, or is there some sort of grading on here, or is it like, is your backyard flat, or?
Yes, super flat.
So it's all flat, so, and I'm just spitballing here, but, so if I'm looking at this drawing here, if this is the existing shed, it's gonna be just south of the pool house. I mean, if I were to slide that sucker right up there, and if you just bumped that and made that pool house another 10 by 10 or whatever it is, I mean, wouldn't that be kind of cool too? So you wouldn't have two things, you wouldn't have to worry about it. Everything's all under one shed. And I just don't know if you're in love with this shed here, like is this, or is this like, would it drastically alter the design of the pool house?
It would. Also not be as cost effective, to be honest.
Okay.
But yeah.
It looks like, if you look at the architectural plans, you know, they have a door coming out that way. If I'm looking at this right.
There's a half bath in the back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that one, yeah.
So you'd have to figure out how to get into the bathroom if you put the shed there.
Yeah, if you, yeah.
Or
that-
past the tractor?
What about the other side? What's on the other side?
It's like a storage closet just for like chairs, lounge chairs, things like that. So I
That
think
would
that's
be the-
wherein lied the problem for us, kind of making it all one big thing with the half bath back there for the kids.
How long have you lived in the house?
He's had it for 12 years. I've been there for 5.
Did you actually assess the cost differential between the two scenarios?
We did. That's why we're
And-
pushing for this scenario.
So really, there's nothing odd about the lot or anything.
No.
It really comes down to cost.
Space costs, yes. And actually, the pergola, which is in these plans that we were going to keep, came down. When we excavated, they realized like the footers were rotten in there, so we did take the pergola down too. I know that doesn't count as an accessory building, but
So how
that is
does-
gone.
This is Rainbow or Viceroy?
Viceroy.
Is there an HOA there?
Minimal, like
Yeah.
125 a
So
month.
do they
yeah.
have any sort of feelings one way or the other?
No, both neighbors to other side are supportive. The neighbors to the left are actually moving, and Dario's family bought the house next door. And then, like I said, like Todd Victor has the development behind us, who's discussed it with us as well, and doesn't have any opposition to it.
You guys have any questions?
No other questions.
Todd?
No, I don't have any questions.
Good. All right, Julie, please be seated. Is there anyone else speaking for this appeal that'd like to come up? Is there anyone else speaking against this appeal that'd like to come up? Okay, if there's no further questions, the public hearing for variance number 2022-108 is now closed to the public. Can I get a motion to approve variance 2022-108?
So moved?
Second.
All right. Discussion. This one's a little bit trickier, I think.
So we have had issues in the past with 2 sheds in the
Yeah.
back, and some of them were, to your point, they were above the 1024 square feet, and that was kind of like a hard no. I remember those. Other ones where they had just a small shed and they wanted to put a nicer one in, and we talked to them about combining them, but it was on a lot that, from one of the last one, it was back in the middle of nowhere. You couldn't have seen it from a helicopter. So adding a second one really wasn't a huge issue. They were still under, but you know,
And the other time I remember stuff like this has come up is that they want a second one, but they're like at 0.192 acres.
right, it
They're
was
just
very close, but
close to 10.
But to that end, you know, we're at half an acre here, so another acre and a half would be okay. But it would seem that obviously the cost is a consideration here. We already have a shed that we own, that we have our stuff in, and the pool house isn't gonna be cheap. I know that for a fact, so
And I think making changes to a plan isn't going to
also, yeah,
decrease the cost. It's going to increase the cost.
it's gonna increase the cost for sure. So, the opportunity is now to either find something to do with the existing shed for the mower, or, they do have a 3-car garage at this house. I looked at it on the Google Maps, and, so, there's an option to put stuff in the garage, or the other option is attach it to one of the ends that doesn't involve blocking the bathroom. But that's gonna cost, I'm not construction, but it's not gonna be cheap. I would reckon another 5-10 grand, I don't know. So that seems to be the stickler here, is the shed, and not wanting to get rid of it. So it's on again, if we were closer to a 2-acre, it might not be so much of an issue. I'm just kind of spitballing here, but.
Why don't we talk about the Duncan
That's what I
factors?
was thinking.
Okay,
Does anyone have them handy?
yeah.
So, I can,
Go
first
ahead,
one
you
is,
can-
Please.
will the property yield a reasonable return, or can there be a beneficial use of the property without the variance?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is the variance substantial?
It could be subjective on this variance, but you're going from 2 buildings, which is a hard no, on lots of less than 2 acres. but substantial might be a combined over 1024, which it isn't. So it is kind of tiny.
Right.
So
But it's also kind of big.
it's also kind of big, right? Tiny in square footage, but big in two buildings.
Right.
Will the essential character of the neighborhood be substantially altered, or will adjoining property suffer a substantial detriment if the variance is granted? Now, to me, that's a
No.
no.
Yeah.
Will the variance adversely affect the delivery of governmental services?
No.
No.
Did the property owner purchase the property with knowledge of the zoning restrictions?
Yeah.
It was 12 years ago. A pool, this
Probably
may have
was-
not been on the radar.
wasn't on the radar,
back
yeah.
then.
Let's see. Can the problem be resolved by some manner other than granting of the variance?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
It's substantial cost.
right.
And will the variance preserve the spirit and intent of the zoning resolution, and will substantial justice be done by granting the variance?
Well, this has been the sticking point for me on all of these issues is what is the spirit and intent of the zoning ordinance?
The spirit and intent is the ordinance itself.
Trying not to muddy up the
Right.
line.
Well,
Yeah.
is it? Where does it state that? See, this is what if it said something very specific like in furtherance of issues of safety, then I would have something concrete to go on. But, the zoning, they're confusing because you wonder, well, why did they make the zoning ordinance in the first place? And if I knew why, if I knew what the basis was behind establishing these ordinances, that would help us a lot in these circumstances.
Well, I mean,
And when
that's-
they don't give it to us, we have to infer it,
Right.
okay? So that is extremely subjective, and I would argue that it inures to the applicant rather than the township. In other words, we give the applicant the benefit of the doubt when we're not certain of what that intent was, or let alone certain, have any idea. So that's what always comes up, and we have these a lot, over the years.
Absolutely, and that's why we have
It's
a
hard.
board, and we have to,
Case by case.
right,
So I can argue for and against, and I'll give you kind of my thoughts on both. Yeah, the against is obvious. It says you can only have one building. Okay, that's pretty straightforward. The for in this case for me is that it's a nice structure. We're not talking about putting 3 outbuildings on there, or something that's going to be an eyesore, or something that's going to actually deter from the neighborhood, or lower property values, or anything like that. This is something that is an upgrade.
Yeah, pool house for sure.
Right.
But then the issue is we don't want to get rid of the shed. I don't know what the shed looks like. But step 6 there, can the problem,
those.
I'm sorry? Yes.
I was asking.
Can the problem be resolved in some manner other than granting the variance? So, and I'm asking, what's in the shed?
Have Julie come back up.
Yeah, Julie,
Yeah.
if you could. So what is actually in the shed? You said lawnmower?
Our skag, our snow blower, kids' bikes, in the winter.
Okay.
It's just storage.
Right.
And it's nice. It's sided with a nice roof and blue door. It matches our house.
Do you mind?
It's kind of like cut off. Sorry.
Let's see here. This is-
It's just the existing.
This is
The
the,
existing
That's
shed.
this, oh,
It's a very nice.
yeah,
His dad built it, which is also the reason they don't
really
want to tear
nice.
it down.
it's very nice.
I think,
Got it.
and I mentioned this, I think when we've had some others, where moving a shed or removing a shed is minimum $500 just to get somebody to show up and
Yeah.
move it on your property.
Easy.
To move it somewhere
And
else,
then
to
demo.
sell it, demo it.
Yeah.
So that would be a hardship then,
Okay.
in that case. So, again, I can see both sides.
And to the both sides, the goal here is to improve the property. And I suppose that, looking at the shed, it's a nice shed, looks custom built, matches the house.
It's only 200 square feet.
And it's kind of small, so, I think to Skip's point is that when in doubt, fun.
Sure. I mean, how many times have we had
Yeah.
this issue?
I know,
It's
so
more than
many.
once.
very, very
So many.
difficult for us because we don't want to say no to anybody.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard. Especially when it makes sense and looks good. Keeps the homeowner from
Yeah.
incurring more expense.
So when I think of intent, when we infer, again, it's totally subjective, but we did have an issue where there was a fellow that he was hoarding junk, and he doesn't want to get rid of his junk, and he wanted another
remember that
shed.
one.
You remember that one? And
Yeah.
he wanted another shed to put more of his junk in,
Right.
and that didn't work out well in his favor. But in this case here, this isn't a junk hoarder. We're putting high five figures into the backyard easily.
Yeah.
Yeah, for pools, they're not cheap to get someone in your backyard. So, I think that we don't have anyone here saying they don't like it. It looks like the backyard is going to be party palace. It's going to be nice. The cost to add that shed to the back of the pool house, to Davey's excellent point, that's going to be prohibitive. So, it's time to call the play,
All right,
All good points.
okay. With that, Heather, the question is on the approval of the variance number 2022-108. A yes vote, no will approve the variance, and no vote denies it. Please call the vote.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes?
Ms. Gerald?
Yes.
Mr. Rowan?
Yes.
Mr. Goling?
Yes.
Mr. Valente?
Yes, your variance is approved. All right, next is conditional use permit application 2022-23 HSB Architects and Engineers on behalf of the property owner. Auburn Vocational School District is requesting a conditional use permit in accordance with section 13.10 to allow for an expansion of the school for the property located at 10985 Girdle Road, known as curb parcel number 08-8-021-0-00-007-0.
Joseph Koski, Auburn Grove Center, 8140 Auburn Road, I have this one in.
Andre Kawami, the HSB architect.
You've been sworn in.
At least one, yes.
Doug Courtney, the CW Courtney Company, I support it.
Who's going to present first?
I guess I can start. We're asking for the conditional use permit for the site plan that you have in front of you. In a section of our campus that is currently used for the said activities that already take place there. It is a part of our public safety programming. We do live fire simulating is back there. We're looking to expand the current use of the property in that parcel to be able to conduct all of the fire training requirements for an entire program rather than doing those elsewhere and trying to lease space for activities that we can do on our own property.
So is this the fire training that was going to go across the street?
Yes.
Now you're moving it back here.
Yes. The cost that it was mounting up to with all of the additions that were being requested of us made us realize that we can get an all self-contained unit. I know that was a concern of the tower, the stair tower, that it could be accessed. This would be completely enclosed. You should have a scaled model of what the facility would look like. It's 3 connex containers welded together, and then the stair tower is off to the right, as you can see on the side of it, also completely enclosed with the welded steel.
Very good.
We would have done this from the get-go if we had known it was going to cost us something.
So the tower's inside of the building.
The tower is, yes, completely enclosed inside. The 3-story stair tower, you're looking at the exterior of it. Then there is a little roof access on the top, which makes the 4-foot railing makes it 42 feet tall. But that's the next.
So what's happening to that other site now?
We still use it for what we've always used it in the past. We are still able to do general fire training over there.
So that one neighbor will be happy.
He'll be happy.
Yes, he will. Yeah, nice fence too.
That was his, he got a nice fence, and his big complaint was
Yeah.
not seeing it, so problem
Not
solved.
going to see it.
But to me, this is just asking for more of the same. We already do what we're doing on back there. We're just going to add, we're just going to expand and add some other simulation type activities.
So on this site plan,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, what's proposed or new versus what's existing?
So what's existing right now is a field behind our horticulture building at the address that you see there. There is smaller sections that we do have what's called a flashover trailer. It's a fire simulator that I don't know if you know fire terms what the flashover is when the big draft comes in and all that. We do have some car fire simulators back there. We do live burns in the open in training firemen put them out. We also have back there a large outdoor storage facility that we have our squad and fire truck in. What will be added is some site preparation, and we need a concrete pad in order to put the said live fire simulator on it. If you remember, there was a physical agility training course that went along with the tower. That will be an asphalt pad to the right of the stair tower. It has to be adjacent to it. We're also adding gravel to the southwest corner that will be used as a construction outdoor learning space before this commission about a covered outdoor lab learning space with the pandemic hitting, and that was actually approved. And with the pandemic hitting, because the spirit going up so much, we have decided to downsize and make it a little less spectacular, if you will, but it can be combined with this site as well. That would be gravel. So it'll be a mix of gravel, asphalt, and concrete with the large live fire simulator that you see in the diagram, along with some other propane props, they're called, that are also simulators for car fires, for propane tank fires, for Christmas tree fires, and things of the such.
So a lot of the gravel areas then are just for the construction.
For the most part. Some of those messier, like the propane tank simulator, we could probably put that on the gravel as well. But those are movable. Those won't be set down in for crane move.
Anyone else have any questions?
For the height, is there any so it's for fire training, but is there any restrictions because the fire department doesn't have like a ladder truck on the height? I don't know if that's maybe a
The
question
height?
for later.
You mean the variance?
It's the variance for the.
Yeah, so we're not there yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's our next one.
Gotcha.
This is just a conditional use.
And the neighbors right behind that lot is Cometic, right?
Correct.
Who?
Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket is right.
There's a
To the
neighbor in
south.
front.
To the
Neighbor in
north.
front too. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, this is the facility right off the intersection of Girdle and Auburn. So this is the Girdle side. There's a house in front right next to the driveway, and then Comedic's on the other side. The back side, I guess.
Got it.
Yeah, Cometic won't see anything because of the tree line. I don't think they would care either. And the neighbor to the south on Girdle Road, it's hundreds and hundreds of feet.
Yeah.
Is there a clearing that you need to do for this?
Yeah, there's site preparation that we'd have to do, sure.
No tree clearing.
No tree.
Clearing trees.
No.
It's all.
It's already clear. It's in that open area. Okay, thank you. Any other questions for anyone up there? Okay, you can be seated for now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else speaking for this appeal that would like to come up? Excuse me, if everyone could be seated. Is there anyone that's speaking against this appeal that would like to come up?
I don't know whether someone's speaking against it.
Oh, if you want to come up, you have to come up to the microphone, unfortunately. Were you sworn in earlier?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. Just state your name.
Florence Whiteley. It's my husband, Bill Whiteley. We live in the little yellow house adjacent to the school.
Okay. What's your address?
10965.
Okay. Go for it.
And what I want to know is, where's it going to be built?
Okay.
So I think, because I was wondering the same thing when I looked at this picture, but it looks like if you were to go all the way to the back, they have an existing building, and I believe it's behind that from what I'm looking at the drawing. So if you went down the drive, there's the horticulture building. I think it's the horticulture building.
All the way down?
And then, yeah, so you go down that drive, but there's the building there, and then behind that is where I believe this fire training is going.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so here's that driveway. There's the,
Can't see that.
oh, okay. There's the driveway.
This is your house here.
Yeah.
Yep, there's the horticulture building and parking lot. Everything would be back behind there.
Okay, good, because the deers come.
Yeah. Do you have any other questions?
No.
Okay. Is there anyone else that would like to come up? Okay. If not, then the public hearing for variance number 2022-23 is not closed to the public. Can I get a motion, please?
So, second.
Any further discussion from the board? No. Okay, Heather, can we get a vote for conditional use permit application 2022-23 HSP Architects and Engineers on behalf of the property owner, Auburn Vocational School District?
Mr. Rowan?
Yes.
Ms. Gerald?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Goling?
Yes.
Mr. Valente?
Yes. Conditional use permit is approved. Next is a variance application 2022-109 at HSB Architects and Engineers is requesting a variance from section 15.04B, table 15.041 on behalf of the property owner, Auburn Vocational School, to allow for the construction of accessory structure that is 34 feet in height in lieu of the maximum 20 feet permitted for the property located at 10985 Girdle Road, known as current parcel number 08-A-021-0-00-007-0.
Jeff Solkowski, Auburn Career Center, 8140 Auburn Road. I have been sworn in.
Andre Brown, BZA
As was talked about earlier, we do want to have this enclosed stair tower as part of our Class A live fire burn simulator. It is in excess of 30 feet. It's 30 feet, and with the railing on the top, adds another 42 inches, so we're just short of 34 feet.
And again, this is in the very back,
It's in the very back.
by the trees.
Yes. This fire stair tower, to be redundant from being in here in previous times, would be very helpful to our local safety forces. Right now, even as far as Ashtabula County, have to drive past Concord Township to go into Cleveland to get the fire training credentials that are required with this physical agility training center that we would be building on Concord Township.
Are there any in Lake County at all?
There is not a stair tower in Lake County. There's not a stair tower in Geauga County.
Wow, so we'd be at
Tri-C. That's the closest one.
And there's a lot of discussion the last time about safety and getting up the tower and all that. Now that it's enclosed the building, that's not an issue.
Yeah, this would be a huge benefit. I mean, we have letters from fire chiefs in total support of it. just because of the sheer distances that they have to travel to get these credentials, the continuing education that the current firefighters need to get, and hiring new firefighters. Obviously, it will be a benefit to our career center. We won't have to have our students go to other burn facilities to get this training done, or the physical agility. Right now, there are other Class A fire simulators in Lake County. There's one in Willoughby that's aging. They got it under grant, so they do have to offer it out to other training centers to use. And there's others, not very widespread, but there are a couple that we utilize right now instead of having it right on our campus. Students don't have to travel. All that. It would be a benefit not only to the career center, but also to the region. Over less than 40.
Dumb question. Totally ignorance on my part. The fire departments have to pay you guys to come train there, right?
We charge tuition, yes.
Okay.
Any questions?
And for purposes of an actual fire department, I'm sorry, I dumbed that down really too much.
I deserve that.
For students that would be taking our courses to become firefighters or paramedics, we charge tuition.
Okay.
For the purposes of this, and fire departments using it, yes, we would charge a fee for them to use it, which they pay right now currently. It probably would be less than where they have to go.
So is this something like...
There could be an in-kind kind of a trade for using the services here, and then maybe we borrow some equipment from those fire departments, stuff like that.
So, I mean, is this like they just come up for the day? Is this like a week thing, or?
Our fire program could last 9 months as far as becoming a firefighter. But when you're doing physical agility for existing firefighters, it's a day event.
Okay, cool. Ignorance solved.
Really?
No, not really.
My questions are for discussion.
Okay. Everyone's good?
Yeah.
You guys can be seated. Is there anyone that's speaking for or against this appeal that'd like to come up? If there's no further questions, then the public hearing for 2022-10 now is closed to the public. Can I get a motion to approve variance 2022-109?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Do you have something?
Yeah, so I see because this isn't the principal building, it's limited to 20 feet as an accessory building. Maximum height on principal building, 35. Okay. Do we need to specify just this building, this accessory building, or are we granting the variance and then they could put other accessory buildings of 35 feet?
Chairman? No, it's just this.
Just, okay. Okay.
Good question.
That was the only question I had.
Way to go, Davey. It's made me think tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do it again.
Try not to.
Any other questions?
I am not.
No? Okay. I don't either. So Heather, please call vote for the approval of variance appeal application number 2022-109. HSB Architects and Engineers is requesting a variance from section 15.04B, table 15.04 on behalf of the property owner Auburn Vocational School for the construction of accessory structure that is 34 feet in height in lieu of the maximum 20-foot permit.
Before we do that, did we offer any public for or against?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, we did. Okay. All right. Sorry about that.
No, you're good.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Bowling.
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney.
Yes.
Ms. Gerald.
Yes.
Mr. Rowland.
Yes.
And Mr. Valente.
Yes. Thank you. Your variance has been approved. All right. The most patient person in the room is up right now.
Here
We
she
have
comes.
variance application 2022-110, Deborah Chandrowski, is that correct? Is requesting a variance to allow for the construction of a deck with a 6-foot riparian setback in lieu of the minimum 75-foot setback required as set forth in section 17.07A and 17.04B2 for the property located at 7223 Pine Hill Road, known as current parcel number 08-A-0-0-0-0-038-0.
I am Deb Sandrowski. I live at 7223 Pine Hill Road in Concord, and I have been sworn in.
Thank you.
We are requesting permission to extend our existing deck, which is elevated, and to put the posts in to hold that deck.
And you're just looking for a small addition?
Yes, basically just enough to hold a hot tub, a small hot tub.
Oh, okay.
We talked about that.
We talked about that.
5 is not small.
And then, I don't know if you're aware, we did receive a letter from Lake County Soil and Water.
Yes.
Did you get a copy of that?
Yes, I did.
Great. And the area already is disturbed. It's not really existing.
Yeah,
right,
it's been
right?
the same for 30-some years. I mean, we've lived there. We moved in 1985.
Okay.
You know, so everything has been, they dug our basement, our house was supposed to be on a slab. They dug down 4 feet and it shale.
Oh, okay.
So they had to bring in 57 triaxle loads of dirt. And we were really highly elevated. So that land has been exactly the same for, we've been, 1985, 37 years.
Yeah.
No.
And we love it. It's beautiful down there.
Yeah.
Beautiful street.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
I think the letter from Soil and Water was helpful.
Chad's letter as well.
Very helpful.
Sum it up and says it's cool.
Okay.
Not too often Chad's in favor of things. So
That's
that was
true.
good.
Yeah. Thought Chad on a good day. Thought Chad on a good day.
Yeah.
He was glowing in this
Yes,
letter.
it was.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Doesn't sound like we have any other questions for you. Is there anyone else speaking for or against this appeal? All right. So if there's no further questions, the public hearing for variance number 2022-110 is not closed to the public. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Who is second? Sorry, Skip. Thank you, Skip. Any further discussion? Everyone's good? All right. Heather, then we get a vote for the variance appeal for number 2022-110 for Deb Sidrowski, who's requesting a variance to allow for the construction of a deck with a 64-foot riparian setback in lieu of the 75-foot required setback.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Bowling?
Yes.
Ms. Gerald?
Yes.
Mr. Rowan?
Yes.
Mr. Valente?
Yes. Your variance is approved. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
We have 2 sets of minutes to approve.
Yeah, because I screwed up last time.
I don't know if I was at June, so I think I have to abstain from both.
I have to abstain from at least one of them.
You were here, I was here, you were here.
Who can vote on June?
Us 3.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, it wasn't it June.
And then you guys can vote on July. You can't vote on either of them. Because it says you weren't here on last month. Were you?
What was the date last month?
July
July what?
13th.
I wasn't here.
That's what I just said.
Okay. I'm just making sure.
All right.
But the June one, what are you trying to pull? The June one I can.
Oh, okay. I thought you just said you weren't here for June. All right. First on the agenda.
I want to say aye.
What's in your cup?
Yeah.
I don't know, someone poured it.
All right. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from June 8th, 2022?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Is there any additions or deletions?
No.
No. Okay. So can I get a vote to approve
All in favor?
the June 8th, 2022 2 meeting minutes, a yes vote approves it, a no vote denies it. All in favor?
Aye.
I'm abstaining. Okay. Next is a motion to approve the minutes from July 13th, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Any additions or deletions to those minutes?
Perfection.
Perfection, okay. All in favor of the minutes from July 13th, 2022, say aye.
Aye.
Abstaining?
I'm abstaining. The minutes are approved as written. The next meeting is August, when are we, sometime in August? Hopefully everyone's, no.
This
yes.
is August.
Oh, yeah, it is August.
This is
September.
August.
Yeah, I wrote down August, so September. So, the meeting though is,
Maybe there is
the
some
meeting is
kettle
adjourned
blood.
tonight. Thank you, everyone.
Kind of verbal gymnastics.